Today, I really want to talk about inflammation.
Excellent.
One,
That sounds awesome. So it sounds like you're ready to go. I'm just gonna let you go and I will be here if you need me. You go for it, my friend.
one story I really want to share is um, one of my first diagnoses was inflammation, and I had it from fibromyalgia. And inflammation definitely causes a lot of disease in the body. And through reducing your inflammation, there are so many different ways to do that. You can do IVs, you can do a weight loss program, you could do a whole set of, getting on a cleanse program and a detox, which is really important sometimes for our bodies. And also the brain and gut connection are very huge too. And we really, they say that the gut and the brain are connected, and that's where also diseases come out. And chronic diseases, usually the rate of it's 6 to 10 people have chronic diseases in the United States, either one or more, are suffering from something. So the exciting thing is, Dr. Clearfield has been doing weight loss management for over 30 years. And he was the first doctor in Reno, Nevada, that brought the semi-glutides into practice. Basically, they were used to be used for diabetic patients, but now they're using them off-label for weight loss patients. And one of the amazing things is that it's helping so many patients break down their inflammation markers are lower, their heart disease, cholesterol goes down. So they start getting healthier and they start feeling better. So, one of the things that we created at Clearfield Medical Group is that we created a support group because so many people around the world are on this semi-glutide or trizipatide. They're calling it J, GP1 diet. So they are around the United States. But what there's not doing is you're not learning how to maintain your weight. You're not learning how important it is to exercise, the food you should be eating. And that's why we created the support group that is starting tomorrow at 5:30 p.m.
I love that. Okay, Michelle, I want to take a step back and introduce you too, and then Dr. Clearfield. And he was on your show. We just had him
Oh yeah,
last.
he was on our
Okay,
show last week.
yeah. So can we get in some? I want to get some information about you and your podcast and what you're really working towards and how you're partnering with Dr. Clearfield. Is that okay if I
Oh
kind of just
yeah.
get that bridge? Okay. So I love this because you've been doing your show for a few weeks there. I'm loving the information about how you're partnering with other clinics to be able to support them because you're also looking at not just the Western medicine side of I'm not my diagnosis when you're looking at the aches and pains and the chronic disease that's going on since you've had 8 chronic diseases and you're learning to manage and release that and you're doing it through this journey. And so the clinic wellness side, you have been overseeing a couple of clinics that where you're helping them with getting their name out there and you're doing support groups. And one of them is Dr. Clearfield. And he's putting this incredible um, support group that he's launching tomorrow. But can you just backtrack a little bit? You know that conversation we had with him last week, and he was talking about how he's been all over the place, how he's excited about, like this health and wellness and being able to support people. Can you tell a little bit of the story? Because you've been friends and like supporting him, and he's one of the contracts that you have to help get him out there. What is it that you really like about Dr. Clearfield that's really kept you in is partnering with him and supporting his clinic?
One of the amazing things that I really liked about him is that he gets to the root of the problem. He was able to get my hormones leveled. So that was one of the hugest things. My thyroid was super low. I'm finally, found out never knew I had thyroid disease when he ran my thyroid. So I get hormones, I do pellets, and that really helps with inflammation and also keeping my body in rejuvenation.
I love also that. Okay, so he gets the root of things. We all want that. That's what's so wonderful about this. You know what I really liked about the story he was talking about? There were a few of them because he was full of stories.
Yeah, he
I
had lots of
love.
stories.
I know, I love it. And he was talking about just how he's done a lot of travels, just to like learn and understand about like heart attacks and weight and how that
Wait,
affects.
yeah, yeah,
Can
a,
you talk a
a
little more
lot. And
about
even
his
people
journey
that,
around this weight
yeah,
loss stuff?
even people that had long-term COVID, they are getting on the semaglutide and it's helping them because they have so much inflammation in their bodies. And it's the nice thing about the program, there comes in a couple different forms. You have the semaglutide, you have the trizepatide, and you also have a pill form from Dr. Clearfield, which is nice. Um, there are some side effects, but he has packaged his compounding pharmacy has packaged an amazing um, combination of anti-nausea medicine. It's got some other peptides in it to really help you not have the side effects that people were experiencing from the main medication. So, but we really, and coaching is probably one of the most important things. We've also created a diet program for people to get on so they can follow their diet. But it takes a group to be accountable for, to lose the weight, to have the energy, to share recipe ideas. We're going to
Yeah.
have top speakers across the United States who are going to be helping us really talk about how important nutrition is.
I love that. And I know that we were talking about this last week that it's so important for people to be having support from others because like we're around food all the time and sometimes it's not that we're eating a lot. It's could be that your body's interacting and also the like interacting with the food but also the environment, like how we feel emotionally. And when you know that somebody's got your back, I mean, like that is like the most important thing is when you're going into being stressed about, life and things. And I hear people even talk about the things that are happening in the world and it
Oh,
literally
yeah.
physically affects them. So when you
And
have a
e
group like that in your support group,
And
you
even when you're going through menopause, a lot of people are gaining weight, and that can be stopped by going on bioidentical, going on the diet. It can help in going on the bioidenticals. It can help because usually women gain 20 to 40 pounds, and they carry up all their weight up front, and their
Mhm.
bodies are very inflamed. So
Yeah.
once you get control of the entire body, and help do some prevention of heart disease and diabetes and cholesterol, lowering that. People are getting healthier and living longer.
Yeah. And when you have inflammation and stuff, just chronic disease can happen.
It
I mean,
it does happen. They
yeah, I
they
mean,
definitely say
anything
inflammation causes chronic disease and your gut causes
because your gut is
chronic
absorbed.
disease.
So I have 25 years in the health industry. So I love it. I'm loving holding the space for you, Michelle. And just like all the stuff you're talking about with, when our gut is not absorbing the food. So when you're doing the peptides, can we talk about that? Like, how does that help your body? Because you're talking about it like it's going to help you lose weight, but you may have some nausea, but now there's a package that Dr. Clearfield put that together so that it's more mild for the body. What is that doing for the body, and why would you want to go that route to help
Well,
balance?
what it's doing for the body, number one, it's lowering your cholesterol. It is reducing inflammation. It is your gut and your brain are getting healthier because you're eating the right foods.
because you're doing the diet plan. And you can do this all over the world. So your
Oh,
support group,
yeah, and
your
you're
support group can you can come in from wherever you're coming from.
and we're adding
Um,
exercise in a meal plan.
oh,
So it makes it a lot easier, but the support group too gives people accountability
mhm.
to learn
What are
ideas from each other.
What is it? Because you've been involved in support groups before, and you said, "Hey, Dr. Clearfield, let's get this going so that you can start supporting people out there." And I know you were talking about locally, so hey, you out there in Nevada, you want to come into Reno and get and check this out because Michelle, were you saying that this type of support you haven't seen around Reno, and that
I
this is
have not seen a support group regarding the trizepatide and semaglutides at all. It's just that's what's really sad because there's so much more information about these drugs and how to taper off and what to do when you have to taper off and get back on them and dosages.
mm, yeah. Okay, so you have the diet, and then you have the peptides. And can you talk just a little bit more about the peptides in the diet, like how that works? Because you got the support group, you're gonna walk in virtually, have the coaching and the motivation and the different ways and approaches based on who your expert is for your support groups.
And we're
And
going to
then
talk a lot about mindfulness too. I
mm,
mean, staying positive about losing weight and learning to love your body. And a lot of self-esteem when, I think when people lose weight, they get super excited and then they go back to their old habits and then they gain the weight back. So we want to teach people how to maintain their weight. There's supplements that are coming out that are definitely on the market right now that help people maintain their weight so they won't gain it back.
And I'm putting the link in right now, Michelle, uh, so that everybody knows how to get into the support group. So
Yeah,
it's tomorrow and what time?
the meeting is tomorrow at
Mhm.
5:30. It's virtual. And I will have a health coach on, and Dr. Clearfield will be on. So we're going to be talking about the myths and the myths of the semaglutide and trizepatide, and learning about everything it can do for your body.
I love it. Very good. Okay, so we had Dr. Clearfield on last week. You definitely want to find the recording for that. I'll get that and I'll put it actually in the link in YouTube here. And also, so he came in, we were talking about his background, how he's traveled. He's he talked a lot about heart attacks, and then he went into how that is connected with the I just love his mind because this is the stuff that they're going to get in the support group. I love that he was saying when he first started dealing with weight loss connected with
Yeah.
heart condition is how people would stay in bed because the doctors would say because this is then which Michelle was it 670s where they said you lay in bed
Lay in bed,
for
don't to
yeah,
rest, don't
yeah,
get up, don't move. And now they get people up and moving.
yeah. And he said, "Here, that doesn't sound right." And so he was able to bring people into doing some light movement, get the circulation going, weight loss instead of gaining weight, and the way that things change and what he was noticing. So I find him like to be this person that's like driven for to heal that body in a way. And I didn't mean to use the word heal because we don't really use that in the wellness industry, but it's like the body is battling something, and Dr. Clearfield has really been doing the research like that, like hands-on learning this, this guerrilla style of like, okay, this is what's happening. How can we go in there, and what's my knowledge to be
When
able to
he's the
do
thing that
something
I
different?
love about him, he looks outside the box. He looks at when he
Mm.
does his blood test, I mean, they are in depth. and he's able to, from all his schooling and training in rejuvenation medicine, he's able to um, gear down everything that the person needs to have a longevity in the life. Because that's our big word right now is longevity.
Yeah, there's a lot of people living a longer life, but it's also the maintenance, huh? Like that you
Mhm.
have your brain and your body intact. Can we go into you're going to be supporting this group. You're going to be there as the host, but you are a patient advocate.
Yes, I
And
am.
they get to be on your uh, calendar if they want to have like 15 minutes with you just to get an idea of like some things they're already doing to maybe some ideas that you have. Can we talk about your story and how you started getting even more curious and trying to, get through a chronic disease that you had and it wasn't getting better, and you were told that this is the way your life was going to be, but you started discovering there's other things out there. That
Yeah.
curiosity for you, that's a good pairing with you and Dr.
Yes.
Clearfield.
So one of my biggest things in 2013, I blew a blood clot in my stomach. I had gained a bunch of weight from the MS drugs I was on. I gained like 115 pounds. So I was at 250. Um, Losing my stomach did help me lose weight, but what I wasn't doing was eating properly and learning that my body was still still inflamed. And so I got treatment for inflammation through some IVs, and it really helped. And then I started taking some of the semaglutide too to help with inflammation in my body to reduce it.
There's a lot of people out there that are feeling pain and scared, especially you're talking about blowing a blood clot, and there's these things that people they don't know the other side, that wellness side that might be able to capture that. How were you feeling? Can you just give a story about how you were feeling and what really motivated you to find what those next steps are so people make it to this support group? It's like that motivations, we just want to help make sure that they get connected and
My
feel
biggest
appreciated.
motivation was not ever giving up because I kept being told that I would be in a wheelchair. I was being told that I would lose um, learning how to play tennis, learning, skiing, all the hiking, all the activities I love. I'd not be able to do that. So that's when I sought out alternative care and really got to the root of what my health issue was. And
Much
once I did my 6-week treatments, it put me in remission from my chronic diseases.
So I can hear that with the chronic diseases that you get to live every day, not being feeling like a victim of your body. That you're really learning your journey of your emotional journey and how to handle life more. So it's like more of the counseling side of what you're talking about here to being able to know that there's other ways besides just going to the doctor. That there's this wellness side to help, like even today, you were having a treatment to help really deal with some aches and pains that you're having. Do you want to talk about that? Just the
Yeah,
support?
so
Yes.
today, well, first I had to get my hormones. You have to go every 4 to 5 months to get your hormones back in your body. We do pellets, they're all plant-based. Dr. Clearfield is probably one of the first doctors in Reno, Nevada that started the pellets here, and he's been doing pellets for over 15 years, but he's been doing bioidentical hormones for over 35 years. And he speaks all over the United States and teaches so many doctors about the programs that he has.
So he's actually teaching some of this stuff
Correct.
too, huh?
Correct. He's definitely sharing his knowledge.
Wow. Okay, so I can't wait to get people in for it's not a generic weight loss, calorie in, calorie out. So what Michelle has shared is all those experiences that the doctors had, Dr. Clearfield, and her experiences and her not being her diagnosis. Is it time for you, audience, to start looking at where your aches and pains are, and like you're ready to release it, but getting the strategies around that.
Well,
So
and one
maybe
of the other
start
things
there.
too,
Yeah.
Rhonda, is, gluten. That's a big one for me. I can't eat a lot of gluten.
Most people, isn't it?
It causes a lot of inflammation in my body. So, that is one thing that's really helped me is taking out the gluten and eating, I have to eat in small sections. I'm a nibbler. That's the best way to explain it. I
Yeah.
can't sit down and eat a meal because I have a lot of swallowing problems.
Mhm. Well, can we go there, because
Yeah.
that's a real important conversation to have, is, your journey with, you just brought that up with how you eat, and can we talk about how that happened and how you're healing your body and your mindset around food?
Yeah, in 2013, I blew a blood clot in my stomach after a highlighted hernia surgery to be treated for GERD because I was a bulimic for over 30 years. So, one of the biggest things for me was a week after the surgery, my girlfriends and I were at the Atlantis casino in the spas, and we were getting massages and facials, and went up to my room, and I was in so much pain, and I called 911, and the ambulance came. I don't remember much.
Mm,
But I found out, years later that, you they don't want you to remind you of your ICU journey. But 9.5 months in the ICU, I found out I was on ketamine for pain. I had my throat and my esophagus were separated. So I had to be fed through TPN for 3 years, it was a port I had to have. That's how I was getting my nutrition. And then they sewed it back together and trying to get me to learn to swallow. And I would just throw things up. So they went and put a stent in, and I felt like I had a hard piece of, um, like a coin in my throat. So they ended up taking that out. So every 30 days, I had to go and get my throat dilated, where they actually put steroids in. And it's kind of like how they dilate a heart, they dilate your throat to open it up.
oh my.
So I did that for 5 years for every 30 days. And then now I have to go we're down to 2 times a year right now, which is good. But food still gets stuck. It's hard, but I just have to eat. I have to be very mindful the way I eat. Slow, chew my food, be in the right frame of mind, not to eat fast because
Yeah.
that's when I choke. So, and the biggest thing for me was, you know, when I lost all that weight, I'm finally at the weight I've always wanted to be at, but I have to make sure I don't get too skinny because I really don't have an appetite.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, my friend. What are you excited about with this launch then, in this journey that you've had and watching others deal with stuff like you and what the support group can do?
Well, I'm excited to help people to know that there is support out there, while going through the diets from other different companies that
Mhm.
they're getting it from, just to be able to learn more. Because what I'm finding out is a lot of them are not getting nutritional counseling. They're not getting, information of what you can do on certain things. Something like for side effects, some people get nauseous. We suggest you take ginger.
Mhm. I love this conversation around food. Michelle's okay if I share a story
Yeah.
of something? I would say within the last 10 years, I've had to deal with this. So I've been clearing it. But, you know, when I was younger, I started connecting food with trying to numb myself. And so I'm going to tell a story, but I love about the support group, what you're talking about with this emotional journey is that I didn't have anybody to have this conversation about some emotional things I was dealing with. And this was probably ninth grade. It started happening with things that happened in my past. And I started connecting with, like, if I eat food, or like I just think of somebody takes a drug, or somebody, is drinking or something, like, it helped me numb myself so I didn't think of anything else. So I had to eat so much so that I could literally almost pass out, or so I did not feel the pain of what I was going through. Because at that time, I didn't know that if I do something different, that it could help me. So food was my thing. And I start realizing that people didn't know I was doing this, just like what you were talking about with an eating disorder. So anybody out there that's dealing with something like this, we don't talk enough about, because I didn't throw it up. I just worked out since I was 14, worked out very, very hard, to like maintain, whatever we were talking about with body weight. But I would go and hide somewhere, go in a closet or something just to eat. And someone said to me, that was like that there was something wrong with that, and I was like, I was so disconnected from that. So anybody else hearing this, I hope this helps you. And I was like, "What? There's nothing wrong with doing that. That's just like, I just don't wanna eat in front of everybody because I want, like, 4 cookies instead of 1 or something like that." And I was putting that in my head that that was okay, like, to hide, to, like, not be truthful about what I was eating. And when I started on this journey, 15 years ago, starting my business, I started learning more, and the counseling is so important that you're going to get in with the support group, because I started recognizing that I was really doing this still 10 years ago, numbing myself. So I'd be fine, I'd be fine, I'd be fine. Some big changes would happen in my life, or I'd be afraid of something and I would just go get a whole thing of cookies, and that'd be enough to probably numb me. Like, literally, I just like, I want to eat until I don't feel anything. I don't feel it. I don't feel it, of like numbing me. So I'd keep eating and I would override being full, because emotionally. So anybody out there that is in this trying to lose weight and you're fluctuating back and forth. So I 10 years ago, all this work that I've done, like counseling that you're going to get from a support group, all of a sudden I didn't feel that. And it was the step by step by step about learning about you and about why you're so wonderful. And some of those imprints, those things that happen when you're younger, they chase you around until you get support. And that's so important, because Michelle is saying that they have all the support you need when it comes to medicine in the natural way, to a food plan. But the mindset is what finally unlocks that. And having the tools, which is the food and the medicine, that could be a life change for somebody.
Oh, yeah, and I so relate to your story
Mhm.
because I was the opposite. I always had to be I never felt like I was good enough. So, I use food as a ration. I wouldn't eat because, my family wanted me a certain size. I had aunts that would criticize me that I was overweight.
Mm.
So you definitely get a mindset where your food, I've had an unhealthy food relationship for years, but I've been working through that,
Yeah.
especially knowing food can heal your body, because I'm a living example of that by taking customized DNA vitamins that I've done, and also eating the right and proper foods that are healthy.
Oh, I respect and appreciate just the safe space and the stories that you're sharing. Thank you for allowing me to share as your host. I think that these types of conversations are normal. And so I can't wait to just keep this cycle of keeping your show going as we build the community around, having these types of conversations and the support that comes with it. Is that support group going to be like once a month? Is
It's
that
gonna
how?
be once a month,
Perfect.
and I'll
Okay.
have all the dates and everything.
Okay, sounds fabulous. I appreciate you so much. Anything else as your host? Is there anything else you want to share before we head
No, I
out here?
think that's it. We just love you to sign up for our support group. That's gonna be starting tomorrow at 5:30. The link is in the chat
Mm-hmm.
box, and,
Thank
we're
you.
gonna have Dr. Clearfield on and also Joel,
Excellent. So
call him
reach out to
Doctor
Michelle.
Yeah, we're gonna have Dr. Clearfield on. He's gonna talk about the myths and the truth of the semaglutides and what it does to the body, and the importance of how you can use those type of peptides to get healthier. And
I love
Joel is a health coach, so he's going to be talking about food plans.
I love that. I love that combination. Michelle, what's your email? I'm going to type it here so that people can connect with you and ask you any questions. You can check that. Maybe there's some people that want to sign up. And I have the link here, but maybe they want to have a conversation.
It's Michelle Solutions to Health at gmail.com.
Michelle Solutions to Health at gmail.com. Excellent. My friend, another successful podcast. Can't wait to hear more about what is happening in that support group. And I know you have a couple of contracts with a couple different clinics. You have some great stuff going on. And we are going to be figuring out the day and the time that you can have your podcast consistently. This is all new and you've been figuring it out. So let's get that figured out so then we can just have it consistent. And we're thinking this is probably going to be weekly for a while at least, everything rolling.
Correct.
All right. Okay,
Thank you.
appreciate it, everyone.
And
Remember,
can you
yeah,
send me the link for this too?
yes, of course. Oh, you know what? Because we have a link instantly because we're right
Okay.
live on YouTube. Oh yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
it's
See, I'll
right
get it
there.
out here. And yeah, I'll get it to you. It's our live stream. Okay, I love and appreciate
Okay.
everyone. You make sure that you check in on how you're feeling about your aches and pains, your inflammation. No, you are not your diagnosis. With Michelle having a background like this, what she gets to do is see you for who you are, not for what you may be diagnosed with. So see you again real soon and see you next week.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Appreciate you.